Salut bonjour tout le monde! It's a new day and obviously it's a new liberal scandal. This time with Beijing Communist Party money and obviously extortion on Chinese nationals living in Canada. So when they face a massive scandal that might actually bring Trudeau down this time, well obviously they go back to the roots, bashing on gun rights. So I think some of you might know that the amendment to C21 have been removed, but Mendicino had promised that he would bring them back in some manner after quote-unquote consultation. Well, consultation have apparently happened because he apparently wants to bring them back on March 9th. It's going to be a complete mess, and I'm pretty sure the only thing that they're going to have done is remove a few models like the Ruger Mark 1, some Weatherby Mark 5, that sort of things, and maybe make some actual exemption per caliber in the law. I don't think it's going to make anybody happy, but they're going to try. Now, luckily for people like me who live in Alberta, it would seem that our government is actually trying to do something about that. I think I mentioned it in one of my previous videos, but I had sent a letter to Danielle Smith's office asking her to essentially invoke the Sovereignty Act or to create an Alberta firearms program in order to counter the overreach by the feds. And if you think it's not possible because the firearms program is a federal program, well, I would remind you that British Columbia has unilaterally decriminalized the use of hard drugs like heroin and cocaine. The possession, sale and use of is supposed to be a federal offense. Anyway, at the end of February, on the 23rd, I actually received an answer, not from Danielle Smith herself or not from her office, but from the Ministry of Justice, that is helmed by Tyler Shendro. If you're wondering why I'm saying it like that, well, it's because it's the weasel who was all too happy to impose vaccine passport and COVID restriction while he was breaking every single one of his rules himself. I don't know why this guy still has a job, but let's move on to the actual response to my letter. So from the different fonts, you can probably say this is a Frankenstein of a text. Anyway, let's go through it. First, he makes a few points about Terry Bryan being appointed as the Chief Firearms Officer. For those of you who don't know, that's the person who's supposed to approve the sale of any firearm that is classified as restricted. He mentioned de facto ordering the RCMP to not participate in the confiscation effort, something that the feds could potentially go around by still ordering the RCMP to do so, because strictly speaking the RCMP is still a federal police force. Then Alberta would invoke the PPSA, which is essentially a case of trials for provinces to go against the Fed, which, considering the state of our legal system, I'm very cynical about, shall we say. Then he mentions the Alberta Sovereignty Act, which I asked them to invoke to essentially kick the feds out of the problem, and then he also mentioned that he has instructed Alberta Crown's prosecutor to essentially leave gun owners alone regarding the ban on the OIC. By this he means that if you owned an AR-15 for example before May 1st, 2020, the date when Trudeau had a tantrum and banned 1500 models of firearms, then you can still keep them, though it's not allowing you to use them. Problem is, these guys are also under federal jurisdiction and named by the feds, which is why the NDP and a bunch of other leftists were crying over interference with the justice system, even though the dumbest guy in all of Canada is literally naming judges, prosecutors, which means there is no independence from any branch of government. Anyway, that leads us into the juicy part, because now he's talking about what happened on February 3rd, 2023, when the Liberals introduced the amendment to Bill C21 to ban hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of firearms that are currently legal in Canada. And as Mendicino, the Minister for Public Safety, from the party giving no cash bail to violent offenders, said it was merely a pause in his confiscation scheme that is now coming back. The UCP, the party of Danielle Smith, our Prime Minister, is finally introducing the Bill 8, the Alberta Firearms Program. And I will take all the credits for that. If it actually has teeth, that is. Because yes, that's kind of the problem right now, we don't actually know what's in it. So hopefully it's going to be good, but at least Alberta is doing something. And with the creation of a provincial police force to replace the RCMP, hopefully we'll have full enforcement power and the feds won't be able to do shit. So, when the text actually comes out, I will do a review on it and give my thoughts. If you want to see that, you can subscribe, hit the notification bell, I have all of my links in the description below, and I'll see you next time. Salut, bonsoir!